Oh, honey, if I could rewind to that balmy June evening in our Atlanta bungalow. The cicadas hummin' a lullaby in the live oaks, the air sweet with the scent of Tessa's first batch of peach cobbler bubblin' in the oven and my son Harlan's easy laugh ringin' off the screen porch. I'd bottle it tight, savon it for the day the boundaries talk turned to bootin' me out like yesterday's cornbread. But I can't. Instead, I'm sittin' here in this cramped efficiency that smells like mothballs and missed chances, starin' at a faded recipe card in Tessa's loopy script, Della's secret crust, and wonderin' how the girl I poured my widow's heart into, fundin' her bakery dreams with every last dime from Tom's life insurance, could claim space to evict me from the family home while Harlan stood mute as a stone. You see, I'm Delilah Della Beaumont, a 62-year-old widow from the leafy edges of Decatur, Georgia, where the suburbs roll out like a quilt of shotgun houses and sweet tea porches, and family means passin', the okra at Sunday supper even when your own plate's skimpy. Back then, after Tom's truckin' accident left me with a mortgage and a mountain of what nows, Harlan was my sunshine, 35, with his daddy's broad shoulders and that twinkle in his hazel eyes that said, "Mama, we got this." Our bungalow on Oakdale Avenue was our heartbeat. A craftsman charmer with gingerbread trim, and a kitchen where we'd plot Tessa's bakery empire over Piggly Wiggly runs, the MARTA train rumblin' distant like applause for her sweet-toothed visions. Decatur's that kind of spot, farmers' markets buzzin' with peaches in July, block parties where neighbors swap stories over PBRs, and diners like the majestic slingin' hash that sticks to your ribs. Harlan was my rock after the fog. Tom's gone triggerin' my own midlife unravel, hot flashes hittin' like Georgia summers, therapy where I'd quip. After 50, it's not hot, it's my inner sweet tea boilin' over. Boil. Over. I'd clerk at the hardware store by day, bake test batches nights, but for Tessa's Peach Blossom Bakery. A vision of cobblers and cream pies born from her culinary school dropout. I dipped into the insurance nest egg, co-signin' loans with Harlan's nod. For the family, Della, I'd say huggin'. And both, her gratitude bubblin' like biscuit dough. Those days, sugar sweet, the kind of highs that make you forget the bitterness lurkin' in the flour. Tessa swept in like a spring breeze, 28, with her wild curls and Southern belle drawl, fresh from Charleston with a pastry degree half-finished and dreams bigger than the varsity's chili dogs. They met at a church picnic, Harlan fixin' her flat tire under the oaks, her laugh sealed the deal. "Della, your cornbread? Life-changin'. Teach me?" she'd beg, and we'd knead dough side by side, flour dust in our aprons like fairy dust, Harlan chairin' from the porch with a mason jar of tea. Neighbors like Miss Pearl next door, retired nurse with her okra pickles and stories of the civil rights marches, joined for tastin's her toes tin. To Della's girl, makin' Decatur delicious. Delicious. I was beamin' at Tessa's first pop-up at the market, lines snakin', round the block for her pralines, Harlan's arm, round my waist. "Mama, you're the yeast in this rise." Yeast. Rise. Subplot stitched the joy. My post-50 redesign flowin', a side gig consultant for church suppers, quips like menopause? The Lord's way of sayin' no more bikini in silence. Drawin' giggles from the ladies' circle. Health journeys wove raw. A lumpectomy scar from breast cancer that turned benign, doc huggin' me post-chemo. "Your spirit's the cure, Della." Spirit. I'd joke with Harlan over Waffle House waffles. Cancer? Just a plot twist in my sweet life. Sweet. Life. Tom would have chuckled, his memory in the recipe box still stained from his last gumbo. My sister Lula in Savannah called bi-weekly, her voice thick with her own empty nest. "Sis, you're the flower holdin', together. Don't let her steal the bowl." Steal. The bowl. The subtle tensions hinted early. Tessa's calls from classes laced with Della, "Your loan helped, ambition's calendar." Ambition. I nodded, but the draft chilled, the insurance papers in the safe feelin' heavier, like a promise with a shelf life. As fall painted the oaks gold, the warmth held in small joys. A block party where Tessa demoed mini pies on the community grill, folks pairin' flavors over sweet tea, me servin' samples with a wink. Peach Blossom, now with Della's touch. Harold, the hardware regular with his salt and pepper beard and tales of Vietnam, toasted beside me. To Della Beaumont, the sweet behind the success. Success. Second chance sparks flew over post-party strolls, him quip pin. Datin after 50? Like her pies, flaky but full of heart. Heart. But Harlan's pitches escalated, Tessa's name droppin' like magnolia petals. She's scoutin' investors, says Atlanta's too small for the empire. Small. The hint of selfishness simmered, suspense buildin' quiet as a biscuit risin' too fast. My grandparentin' dreams? None yet, but visions of future cobbler lessons with their kids kept the hope afloat. Health checkups lightened with humor. Arthritis? Prep for needin' grandbaby dough. I'd tell the doc, but resilience dug deep, volunteerin' at the food bank where tales of sidelined Amiles mirrored my whispers. Lula's subplot added layers, her visit after a knee replacement huggin' me tight. Sis, kids chase sweet, don't let her sour yours. Sour. Harlan's next drop-in, bakery metrics glowin' on her laptop, Tessa on the line from a supplier call. Della loved the blog, but Harlan needs focus for the launch. Focus. Without me. The crack gaped, highs of market collabs crashin' into lows of loan reminders pillin'. Tessa's overheard snippet on speaker. Della's sweet, but needy, after the success, boundaries for our nest. Nest. Without the builder. As leaves carpeted the paths, I pressed on, blog posts pillin' followers with quips like, remortgagin' for love? Hope it's not crumblin' like pie crust. Crust. But in the hush of night, starin' at the safe key doubt anchored. What if her empire eclipsed my home? The storm gathered slow, highs of their hugs crashin' into lows of dodged plans, the foundation groanin' under the weight I'd carried so long. The first fissure etched in sly, like a crack in the bungalow's gingerbread trim after a summer squall, revealin' itself on a humid August afternoon when the Atlanta sky hung heavy with the promise of thunder, mirrorin' the storm brewin' in my gut. I'd just wrapped a volunteer shift at the food bank. Ladlin collards for the line, my arthritis throbbin' like a low note in a blues riff, when Tessa's text buzzed on my flip phone. Della launch party tonight, investors. Wear something cute. Cute. The word thrilled, and I rushed home, ironin' my best sundress, the one with the magnolia print Tom loved, fingers flyin' despite the joint ache. The bakery, Peach Blossom, was her baby now, walls painted blush like a Georgia peach, ovens hummin' with promise from the loans I'd co-signed, Harlan's nod sealed the deal. For the family sugar, I'd said huggin', and both at the sign-in, her eyes shurneen with that fire. But as I pulled up to the spot in Decatur Square, the crowd spillin' out, suits clinkin' wine glasses, laughter floatin' on the breeze. The crack appeared, doubt seeping like sweet tea through a straw. Harlan waved me over, arm round Tessa's waist, her curls bouncin' as she air-kissed cheeks. Della, you made it! The crust recipe? Gold. Gold. But her gaze flicked to my dress, a flicker of quaint, and the high of the toast. To Della's dough. Crashed when an investor leaned in. Your Emile's the secret ingredient, Tessa. Kept the lights on? Kept. On. Harlan chuckled, but his eyes darted, the subtle shift from partner to prop stingin' sharper than the AC blast from the door. Those doubts burrowed deeper, personal struggles stackin' like unpaid supplier bills in Tessa's ledger. Peach Blossom was blossomin'. Morning lines for scones, Atlanta Journal shout-out Callan it, the Newpont City darling. But the loans bit, payments nip pin at my pension like gnats at a picnic. I'd quip over iced tea at the Majestic Diner with Miss Pearl, my next-door nurse with her okra wisdom. Chili DIL's bloom fast. Don't let 'em shade your sun. Shade. But mine. Fadin'. Health threads pulled raw. A doc visit for the flashes that left me fannin' myself in church, her prescribin' fans with a wink. After 50, it's not hot, it's your spirit sparkin', Della. Sparkin'. I'd laugh, but vulnerability crept in nights alone, Tom's recliner empty, whisperin' to the fan. He'll call tomorrow for supper. Supper. The selfishness unfurled in layers. Tessa's quick check-ins, now tag-teamed with Harlan, her planner open on the kitchen table, eyes scanning my fridge art like relics. Adorable setup, Della. Harlan says you co-signed for this? Adorable. Code for outdated, her gaze upraising, the mantle like a flipper eye in profit. I'd smile, pourin' more tea, but inside the foundation quivered, suspense buildin' quiet as a biscuit risin' too quick. Subplots tangled the hurt. Lula's daughter, Tia, fresh from her own Atlanta divorce, became my walkin' buddy along the Beltline, her stories of ambitious exes mirrorin' mine. Aunt Della, they call it drive, but it's desertion with a business card. Desertion. Tessa's drive subplot peeled back in Tia's circles. Her own mama, a single mom who'd poured everything into a failed cafe, leavin' her vowin', no sentimental sinks. Sinks. Me. The high of a blog collab with a southern foodie, Della's dough, midlife mains. Crashed into low when Harlan bailed on my birthday tea. Investors in town, rain check with cobbler? Rain. Check. I'd quipped to Harold over fried green tomatoes at the diner, his fork pousin. Datin after 50? Like her pies, flaky but full of fillin'. Fillin'. But the betrayal nuanced. Not malice, but ambition's tunnel vision, Harlan's fear of Tom's steady job shadow, driving him to cut loose ends. Late-night voice note from him. Ma, what if we flop like Dad? Flop. The word haunted, my cosign papers in the drawer feelin' like a noose. Suspense tightened in the gaps, twists slip and sly. One sticky September night, insomnia sent me to the attic, bakery prototypes gather in dust, when I unearthed Tessa's forgotten planner, pages of pros/cons, Della's role. Pros, supportive funder. Cons, clingy, guilt over loans, boundaries needed post-launch. Guilt. Needed. The revelation wrenched a gasp, me sliding down the stairs, sobs rackin' as the Marta rumbled overhead, glimmers of strength flashin' like signal lights. My blog post going viral on evicted elders, collabs with shelter MILs, their stories my salve. Della, you're our sweet spot. Sweet. Spot. Harold proposed proper over the belt line, ring glintin' under street lamps. No more solos, Della, our recipe. Recipe. Joy tangled with grief, yes bubblin' up as I hugged him, humor sparkin'. At our age, it's not I do. It's I do over with extra sugar. Sugar. But the shadow lengthened, Tessa's launch party invite Erevan. Intimate, investors only, my name scratched in pencil. Scratched. Out. The crack gaped, highs of blog milestones crashin' into lows of lone reminders pillin'. Tessa's overheard snippet on speaker. Della's sweet but needy. After the success, boundaries for our nest. Nest. Without the builder. The turmoil simmered, my quips tinnin' rye over diner hash. Startups and DILs both promise sweet, deliver sour. The rupture thundered in on a sticky October evening, the Atlanta sky unleashin', a downpour that lashed the bungalow windows like Tom's ghost demand injustice. The beltline paths floodin', with regrets I couldn't outrun. I'd just wrapped a blog live with the ladies' circle. Midlife mamas sharin', boundary bakes, over Zoom, my quip on hot flashes as power plays drawin' nods. When Tessa burst through the screen door, face flushed as peach cobbler, Harlan trailin', with a folder thick as bad news. Della, it's time to talk. Talk. The word hung heavy, and I led Em to the kitchen table, sweet tea sweatin' in pitchers like my palms. Talk? Or take? She sat straight, curls bouncin' defiant, voice smooth as her pralines. The bakery's boomin'. Investors want expansion. But the house, it's equity. Boundaries for our family. Boundaries. The label exploded the dam. Equity? This is home, Tessa, the kitchen where I taught you crust, the porch where Harlan learned to walk. Tears hot, Harlan shiftin' silent, his eyes on the floorboards. Ma, it's business, the loans, your Timon hurt. Timon. Mine. The high of her launch toast crashin' into gut-wrench low, sobs rackin' as I clutched the table. Hurt? I co-signed for your dreams, not the deed. Deed. Tessa's eyes hardened, her trauma subplot crackin'. My mama poured everything into a flop cafe, left me broke. Can't let that happen here. Here. Without me. From there, the breaking point barreled on, conflicts a skeleton, like a Marta delay tenon to shut down. The eviction unfolded in lawyer letters. Notice to vacate for family expansion. The bungalow listed while I packed china from Tom's mama, each clink a stab. Emotional stakes soared. Harold's ring burnin' in my pocket, our Decatur dates shadowed by my silences. Marry me anyway, Della, he'd urge over fried catfish at the Sublime Donuts Cafe, rain patter in the awning. Let's bake our own life. Life. I wanted to quip bin back. After 50 it's not bikini. It's risin' from the ashes with extra butter. Butter. But the ashes spread. Health scare with a lump that turned fibroadenoma, Doc Huggin post-mamo. Your spirit's the yeast, Della. Yeast. I'd joke with Lula over phone from Savannah. Cancer tease? Just a plot twist in my power play. Power. Play. Subplots twisted the knife. Tia's divorce mirrorin' mine, her cryin' over okra gumbo. Aunt Della ambition blinds, my ex blamed my help for his flop. Help. Tessa's or mine? Tia uncovered her subplot. Tessa's mama, a failed baker who'd smothered with loans leaving her vowin', no debt ties. Ties. Cut. The high of a blog collab with a southern wellness guru. Della's dough, from flaky to fierce, crashed into low when Harlan bailed on my birthday tea. Investors in town, rain check with pie? Rain. Check. Heart-wrenching scenes stacked like eviction boxes. Thanksgiving prep, me stuffing the turkey for 3, them me, the oak leaves gold outside, but Tessa's text cancelled. Flu, Harlan's comin' solo. Solo. As I ate alone, China clinkin' echoey, Harold called from his place. Della? You okay? Okay. Lie. The high of Tia's visit, her huggin' me tight. You're not debt, you're the donut hole holdin' us, soured as Harlan's call landed. Ma, the house sells next week, Becca's pushin' for a loft. Loft. The stake plunged, turmoil crestin' at the closin'. Bitters swarm the livin' room, my mantle stripped, Tia holdin' me as the keys turned. Sold. Sold. The high of a food bank volunteer gig. Teachin' pie crust to single moms, quips like eviction? Just a re-roll in your recipe. Soured as Tessa's text landed. Congrats on the sale, lofts Callan. Love from the Empire. Empire. Without the architect. Miss Pearl wept with me on the stoop. Chilly fight, therapy's your oven mitt. Oven. Mitt. I dove deeper, unpackin' the widow's void, quips sharp. Co-signin' for love? Hope it's not crumblin' like shortbread. Shortbread. As winter nipped with its gray grip, Harlan's success call, voice triumphant. Ma, expansion funded, Becca's glowin'. Send the China. China. The nadir. Christmas Eve alone in the efficiency, tree a single bulb, phone silent save collectors. Tessa's overheard snippet on a mutual call. Della's sweet but bad influence. After the loft, no more ties. Ties. Cut. The break-in point loomed, my quips tunnin' rye over diner grits. Bakeries and DILs, both rise, leave you flat. Solitude crept in like the fog off the Chattahoochee, damp and clingin'. Tunnin' the bungalow's echo into a dirge on a drizzly January mornin', when the eviction lock clicked final, the new owner's U-Haul rumblin' away with my recipe box buried in the back. I'd lingered on the porch that last night, sweet tea sweatin' in my hand, arthritis throbbin' like a bad memory, when the banks vacate, notice crumpled in my fist, tears saltin', the steps I'd scrubbed for years. The efficiency in East Atlanta was a shoebox, peelin' wallpaper and a hot plate that sparked like my frayed nerves. But it was mine, paid with freelance scraps and Harold's quiet loans. Della, this is temporary, bake your way out, he'd say over phone, his voice a lifeline from his ranch in Roswell. Temporary. The word mocked as I unpacked Tom's photo, dust settlin' on the frame like the silence from Harlan. The descent deepened, despair's vines twistin' tight with every ignored ring, every for-lease sign mockin' my fall. Peach blossom boomed. Atlanta eats raves, Tessa's face on Fox 5 smilin' over scones, but my world wilted, loans defaultin' to collections Callan at dawn. Emotional stakes climbed. Harold's proposal ring feelin' like fool's gold in my pocket, our Decatur dates now Roswell drives, shadowed by my silences. Marry me anyway, Della, he'd urge over catfish at his club, rain pattern the tin roof. Let's rise together. Rise. I wanted to quip pin back. After 50 it's not risin'. It's re-kneadin' with extra grit. Grit. But the grit ground down. Health scare with a gallstone attack, our lights blarin' as Doc warned. Stress'll stone you, Della, therapy's your sieve. Sieve. I sifted, sessions unpackin' the widow's void, quips cuttin' rye. Co-signin' for love? Hope it's not indigestion of the heart. Heart. Tia stepped up, drivin' from her Atlanta flat, her divorce fresh. Aunt Della, this ain't boundaries, it's barricades. Barricades. Tessa's barricade subplot peeled back in Tia's circles. Her mama's cafe flop, debts drown in the family, leavin' her vowin', no bleeders. Bleeders. Me. The high of a blog series on evicted MILs. Readers floodin' with Della, you're my mixer. Crashed into low when the efficiency flooded, landlord shrugged in. Your luck, lady. Luck. Tessa's. Suspense choked in the cracks, twists dartin' sly as fireflies in the oaks. One muggy March night, insomnia herded me to the efficiency's closet, bakery relics gatherin' dust, when I unearthed Tessa's forgotten planner, pages of pros/cons, Della's role. Pros, funder. Cons, clingy, guilt over loans, boundaries needed post-loft. Guilt. Needed. The revelation wrenched a wail, me slidin' down the wall, sobs rackin' as the Marta rumbled distant, glimmers of strength flashin' like faulty bulbs. My blog pivotin' to sweet revenge bakes, collabs with shelter MILs, their stories my salve. Della, you're our oven, hot and holden. Holden. Harold proposed proper over the belt line, ring glintin' under street lamps. No more solos, Della, our loaf. Loaf. Hope warred with hurt, yes, breathin' out as I hugged him, humor sparkin'. At our age, it's not I do. It's I do over with yeast. Yeast. But the shadow engulfed, Tessa's launch anniversary invite Erevan. Intimate, staff only, my name absent. Absent. The crack gaped, highs of blog milestones crashin' into lows of landlord hike notices. Tessa's overheard snippet on a mutual call. Della's sweet but bad vibe, after the loft, no more ties. Ties. Cut. The nadir. Easter alone in the efficiency, basket empty, phone silent save collectors. Harlan's success text voice triumphant. Ma expansion funded, Tessa's glowin'. Send the China. China. The isolation peaked April, food bank line my new block party. Quip to a fellow MIL. Eviction? Just a reroll in life's dough. Dough. But resilience pulsed faint, volunteerin' Leodin to a bikini class for evicted women, their laughs my bomb. Della, you're our rise. Rise. Yet. The echoes rolled in like a southern thunderstorm on a sultry May evening, the Atlanta sky cracklin', with lightning that lit the efficiency's thin walls like Judgment Day. The downpour matchin' the flood from my eyes when Harlan knocked, soaked to the bone, Tessa's shadow behind him in the hall light. Mama, we need to talk now. Now. The word thrummed and I ushered him in, the room's humid air thick with unspoken thunder, my heart poundin' like the rain on the tin roof. Talk. Or tally the damages, son. He paced, water pullin' at his feet, the bakery ledger spillin' from his bag like innards. Ma, the expansion's funded, investors love Tessa's vision. But the house, it's gone and I see my part. Part. The confession cracked the levee, tears minglin' with the storm as I sank to the Saggin couch. Part? You stood silent while she called boundaries to boot me, my kitchen, your daddy's porch. Porch. His sobs joined the gale, subplot unravelin'. Mama, Tessa's mama lost everything to a bad loan, left her vowin', no chains. I followed, scared to flop in like dad. Dad. Flop. The climax surged from there, confrontations flashin' like heat lightning. Harlan stayed the night, unpackin' boxes of my life, recipe cards, blog awards, the guilt pourin' over Waffle House at dawn. Mama, the boundaries? My fear of failin' you like Tom failed us. Tom. Failed. The high of his hug, first real one in months, tangled with rage. Fail? I co-signed for your nest, not the eviction. Eviction. We called Tessa on speaker, her voice cracklin' from the loft. Della, Harlan's home, good. The boundaries? Stress. But space for the baby. Baby. Grandbaby? The label ignited, my voice steely. Space or spite, Tessa? I was your yeast too, now I'm crumblin' in an efficiency. Pause, her crack. My mama chained us to her cafe flop, didn't want that for us. Us. Without me. Harlan's turn. Babe, Della's the rise, loft without hers flat. Flat. The line held, tears shared across wires, redemption's dough needin' slow. Closure wove bittersweet, reflections risin' like mist off the Chattahoochee. Harlan drove me to Viwin Co-ops, his arm steady. Mama will co-sign, your bakery, not mine. Bakery. I nodded, forgiveness with boundaries. Love you, but no more space. Presence or peace. Peace. The echoes softened, blog tour in Savannah with Lula, her huggin' me. Sis, you're the comeback cobbler. Cobbler. Harold and I wed under the oaks, simple as sweet tea, his vow. No more solos, Della, our batch. Batch. Tessa's apology call came, grandbaby on the way. Della, teach me boundaries that bind. Bind. The poignant regret lingered, ghosts of the efficiency banished, but lessons carved. Love's not debt, it's the rise that redeems you after 50. Oh, my dears, as I sip sweet tea on this co-op porch, the live oaks swayin' like old friends sharin' secrets, I've learned the soul-stirrin' truth that family ain't the loan that pays back. It's the risk that reshapes you, sweeter for the sour. I co-signed my heart for Tessa's bakery bloom, navigatin' widow's fog and hot flashes that felt like failure's oven, only to hear boundaries from the girl I bankrolled, her scars from a mama's flop-tunin', my love to liability, while Harlan stood silent in ambition's shadow. But here's the sugar from these seasoned years, practical as a pie crust. After 50, resilience ain't dodging the bake. It's therapy as your tin, press in boundaries that say love me layered or leave the loaf. To the Harlan stand in silent, pause at the oven. Your mama's the yeast, not the yeast infection. Complicity's a crutch, voice the lift. To the Tessas haunted by yesterday's crumbs, no scars sour the dough if unchecked. Let MILs rise, their hands need more than hurt. And to my sister souls evicted or edged out, remember. Agin is reinvention, not retirement. Blog that burn into bomb. Date with a wink and no recipes. Volunteer where midlife mamas mix their magic. Forgiveness? With fillings reconcile but reclaim your pan. Sacrifices echo in the empty but quiet hope replies. You're not the flop, you're the filling. Bake on, sisters. Your sweet outshines any storm. Phew, if Della's echoes sweetened your sour spots, share your own DIL dough below. What boundary broke the batch? Your words whisk us together. Like if it landed, subscribe for more midlife mixes. And hit the bell so no loaf rises alone. Shares spread the sweet, tag a Della who needs it. Next, a grandma's heirloom stolen by her own blood. Betrayals that'll crumble and crust you. Thanks for baking with me, kin, keep risin'. See you in the oven.